me check and make sure we're live. I think we are. Okay. Looks like, yeah, hold up. All right, yeah, looks like we're live. What's up, guys? Small slate today. Gonna be a short stream, but I did want to hop on, give you guys a couple plays I like for tonight, and of course, answer some questions for this slate. We did just get some news on James Harden. James Harden's out tonight. I think Prizepicks has already pulled the props for Cleveland. Let's see. Yeah, they already pulled him. That news literally came out like right before I hopped on stream. So that's kind of annoying. We did just get the Raptors starting lineup. They are starting Colin Murray-Boyles. So I think here's a play we can look at. Colin Murray-Boyles. Let's see. What do they have available on him? Let's see. 13 PR, 8 points. I kind of like 13 PR. Starting. I think that's a good play. We just got to find like a pair for it. I don't know what to pair it with. I really don't. God, let's see. What else could we do? Warriors will start Pods, Richard, Moody, Santos, and Horford. Okay, so Will Richard starting. Do they have props up for Will Richard? They do. Here we go. This is our slip for today. Let's lock it in. $5 protected play. Honestly, I think I'm going to... fantasy or points? I think I might take points. Let's go points. Let's go points. All right. Lock it in. That's our official slip for today. I got my protected play, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. But this will be our stream slip for today. Right out of the gate, giving it out. Let's see. Yeah, Pods, Richard, Moody, Santos, and Horford. So Warriors are starting Will Richard. He wasn't projected to start. I think Pat Spencer was projected to start. We did take a Pat Spencer over, so that's not ideal that he's not starting. But let's see. I think that there's value in that Will Richard prop for sure, if you want to take that. The line's at 9.5. I'm assuming that line will get bumped up. I'm assuming. I don't know for sure, but it likely gets bumped up. Let's see. If you guys lock this in, let me know. I'm going to take a look at Colin Murray-Boyles props. PRA's at 16.5. It looks like they locked that. Thunder will start Wallace, Joe, Dort, Wiggins, and Jay Will, so that's as expected. Yeah, Will Richards starting over Pat Spencer, and then Colin Murray-Boyles starting over Jakob Poeltl. Pistons will start Cunningham, Robinson, Thompson, Harrison, Duran, so that's as expected. How many people we got in stream right now? Let's see. We got 65, or for some reason my chat's not showing on YouTube. I don't know if there's people, if you guys are in the stream and you're here, say something in the chat. Because like right now, I don't see anyone in the chat. Maybe you guys are just all being quiet tonight. But it says we got like 80 viewers. Nobody's typing. Okay, there we go. We got some people now. Did you guys get these plays in? If you wanted detail? Okay, they just removed Will Richard points. You could take, well, it says it's at 9 points now. You could take this. But did y'all get these plays in? Okay, I see people in chat now. Everybody was just being quiet, man. There was nobody typing. I was just sitting here talking to myself, which I don't mind. But yeah, it looks like we got some people in chat now. If you guys do have questions for tonight, yeah, you can throw those in chat, but I did want to go ahead and give out a slip since, these games are starting in like 20 minutes. But feel free to lock this one in. I like this slip quite a bit. I think there's value on both these plays for sure. Let me see, let me check the sportsbook market, see if they've moved these lines. Let's see. Let's take a look at DraftKings. CMB. Okay, DraftKings has CMB at 13.5. Okay. And then let's take a look at Will Richard points, if that's available. Yeah, Will Richard points is at 10.5 on DraftKings. So there's definitely some value on both these plays. $15.5 PRA. Okay. Hold on, let me pull up my Discord and pull this over here. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, you guys got any questions, man? Let me know. Throw those in chat. We'll get them answered. Let me go ahead and pull up Props Madness. Put it on this monitor so we can have that ready. But I did want to go ahead and give out a slip just so I can get that out of the way. And then we'll spend probably the next like 20 minutes or so answering questions. Again, it's a small slate today. It's just going to be a short stream because the games are starting, pretty soon. But I still wanted to hop on and, give a slip out and hopefully help you guys make some money tonight. But you guys are quiet in chat tonight, man. Either my YouTube chat's like delayed or something, or like nobody's chatting today. I've only seen like 6 or 7 chats so far. Okay, now we're getting some questions in. Denise asking about Reed Shepard's fantasy score. Yeah, that line's come up a bit. I think it was at 29.5 earlier today. It's at 30.5 now. I mean, a lot of his props have come up. I think, his PRA last night when I gave it out on YouTube was 21.5. It's up 2 points to 23.5. Look, he's going to start. We've already got that confirmed. And he's probably going to play over 30 minutes. I mean, Reed Shepard's typically been a, fairly productive player when given minutes. It's a good matchup. I don't hate the over still on his fantasy. I honestly, like, between that or PRA, I might lean PRA. Like, Reed Shepard's typically not like a big steals and blocks guy. He is favored for 2 steals and blocks tonight. But between those two, I might actually lean PRA. Those are still good plays, though. Both of them, honestly. Why do you like those 2 picks? So, Colin Murray-Boyles was not projected to start, and now he's starting. He's starting over Jakob Poeltl. And then same goes for Will Richard. Will Richard is starting over Pat Spencer. So there's value on both these plays. These 2 players were not projected to start, but they're now starting, so they're probably projected for more minutes. Pretty sure DraftKings moved Will Richard's points prop to 10.5, and I think CMB's at 13.5 on DraftKings. So yeah, there's some value on both these props. The Warriors, I mean, they're really short-handed right now. Like, they don't have Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, D'Anthony Melton. Like, they've got a lot of guys out. I think they only have like non-available players, so they're going to probably have to run sort of a tight rotation, which typically the Warriors don't do that, but given how thin they are right now, they're going to have to. And then I think they're starting CMB over Poeltl because of the matchup against Wemby, and they want CMB out there. He's a much better defender. So I think as long as CMB stays out of foul trouble, I think his minutes are somewhat secure here because they probably want him to guard Wemby. So that's why I like those 2 plays. What's up, Trayvon? What's up, my man? Do you like the under on Poeltl's fantasy score? Since he's not starting, I don't hate it. The line didn't move, it looked like. Pretty sure that line was still at 23.5 before they announced he wasn't starting. So I don't hate that. Since he's not starting, he's probably going to play more minutes with Wemby off the floor, which that's not great. Like, if you're taking an under on Poeltl, you want him out there against Wemby because Wemby's just such a good defender. Wemby can draw fouls. Since he's coming off the bench, he'll play less minutes against Wemby. But I still don't hate the under there. I think that's okay. I mean, since he's coming off the bench, I mean, he probably projects for like 2 to 3 less minutes than what he was projected before. Whereas like CMB projects for probably 2 to 3 more minutes. So the under there is not too bad. Also, so I took Pat Spencer over 25.5 fantasy. I gave that out on Patreon. The line moved up 4 points. But now that Pat Spencer's not starting, like, I actually don't mind taking the under on 29.5 fantasy, which kind of goes against my Patreon play. But there's a scenario where he finishes with between 25 and or 25.5, 29.5, and the over hits if you got in my Patreon, and the under could hit if you take it now. But since he's not starting, I kind of like that under a little bit, and it somewhat correlates with the Richard over because Richard's the guy who's starting over him, who should play more minutes. You like Cade over 46.5 fantasy? Don't love the matchup for Cade, but right now OKC is missing a lot of guys. So they don't have Chet, they don't have Isaiah Hartenstein, they don't have J-Dub, they don't have Shea, they don't have Alex Caruso. The matchup still is not great because they have Cason Wallace, they have Lou Dort. Both those guys defend really well. I think his line was at 49 earlier today. It's come down. 46.5 feels like a good line for this matchup. You look at his recent games, obviously he's been crushing, but like some of these matchups have been really favorable. This one's probably one of the worst ones you can get. Looks like they did just bump up Will Richards' points a point. So yeah, hopefully you guys lock that in at 9 because there was definitely value there. But let's look at Props Madness and look at this matchup for Cade. Like if you look at OKC, you look at like their defense first position in terms of points allowed. I mean, fourth fewest points allowed, third best at defending his dominant shooting zone, where he scores a lot of his points from. Paint points allowed, give up only second, or they give up the second fewest paint points. So that's not good for Cade, a player that does like to drive to the basket. Best defensive rating in the league. Like the matchup's terrible, but Cade's gonna have a big role. He's gonna play big minutes. He could still go over. I'm a little skeptical. I would probably just avoid it, I think. Guy Santos fantasy. We could look at Guy Santos. Let's see. So we just got the Cavs starting lineup. Schroeder, Merrill, Tyson, Wade, and Allen. So that was as expected. So all good there. Yeah, Guy Santos, he's got some high lines. I mean, he's been playing really well lately. And the Warriors, like I said earlier, they're very shorthanded. We can go and look at the Warriors for tonight. Look at the guys they have available. Or don't have available, I should say. Steph's out. Jimmy's out. Melton's out. Kuminga's traded. Porzingis out. Draymond out. Buddy Hield traded. Seth Curry out. So they only have Pods, Moody, Horford, Post, Richard, Santos, Spencer, Payton. And I think there's like one more guy they have. So they basically have like 9 available players. I mean, Guy, you look at Guy's minutes as of late. 30, 32, 30, or 28, 39. Like, he's playing a ton of minutes. You asked about his fantasy score. Let's kind of look at PRA because that kind of equates to fantasy. So if we just look at games where Guy plays at least like 26 minutes, I mean, he's averaging 24 PRA per game, which probably equals like 28, 29 fantasy. When he plays at least 30 minutes, 26 PRA per game, which equals probably like 31, 32 fantasy. His line's at 34.5 tonight, so it is a little bit higher, but the matchup's really good. I feel like 34.5 is a good line. Guess I would lean the over just because he is going to play a lot of minutes because they're shorthanded. But that's one of those plays, like, the line feels pretty good. I just think, not a play I love, I should say. Is he a big steals and blocks guy? I don't think he is. He did have 5 steals and blocks last game. There's a 7-point difference between his PRA and his fantasy. That feels kind of high for a player like him that doesn't, get a ton of steals and blocks. Maybe I'd take PRA instead. I mean, his last 2 games, he's over PRA, whereas fantasy, he pushed fantasy. If you're deciding there between those two. Jokic over 12.5 rebounds. Let's look at Jokic rebounds. It's not a great rebounding matchup, I would say, against Boston. We can see Boston this year, 7th in rebounds allowed, so they're giving up the 7th fewest rebounds. To the position, to centers, they're giving up the 4th fewest rebounds, 6th fewest defensive rebounds. They play at the slowest pace in the league, so that's not great for rebounds. Jokic he hasn't played the Celtics this year. Let's see, did he play him? I'm sure he played him last year. Yeah, 1 game against the Celtics last year. He did have 14 rebounds. Look, Jokic is an elite rebounder per minute. I don't think like the matchup's great for rebounding. So like 12.5 feels like a pretty good line. I mean, you look, every book has him at 12.5, pretty much even money. Hard Rock is favoring the over. Pinnacle's favoring the under slightly. That's one of those that, it just feels like a good line. This should be a game where Jokic plays pretty good minutes. So I guess if you look at games with at least 34 minutes, he is over this line in over half his games. But even, there's been games where he's played 34 minutes and still not gotten 13 rebounds. So, don't love it. Don't love it there on Jokic boards. Malik Monk field goal attempts. Let's look at that one. They don't have field goal attempts on Props Madness, but we could probably look at points. So the Kings, I mean, they're kind of a tough team right now. Like you never know what they're going to do with the minutes. I want to say last game they actually like played their starters decent minutes, but we've seen a lot, like in a lot of games lately, they'll pull the plug early. They'll pull out Westbrook. They'll pull out DeRozan. But Westbrook did get 33 minutes last game. I think DeRozan got over 30 as well. He got 29. Monk's minutes, I believe, have been like in the low 20s. He was at 19 last game, then 28, 20, 22. He should be able to just kind of shoot as much as he wants when he's on the court. Because, like, right now, the Kings don't have a lot of their high-usage players. Sabonis, they don't have Zach LaVine. 9.5 field goal attempts against Houston. Not a great matchup. Like, 9.5, that's another line that feels pretty accurate to me. And the fact that, like, there's just, like, a lot of fragility with these tanking teams. Like, for the most part, I'm trying to avoid taking props on these tanking teams when it's just so uncertain on how many minutes some of these guys will play. But, like, I bet if you look at games this year where Monk's played, like, let's just say without without LaVine, when he's played, like, at least 20 minutes. I mean, he's had, obviously, a lot of big games. Some of these games, though, he got, like, 30 minutes. But, I mean, in 25 minutes, he took 12 shots. In 30 minutes, he took 11 shots. In 22 minutes, he took 11 shots. 20 minutes, 8 field goal attempts. And then 28 minutes, 16 field goal attempts. Honestly, I feel like if I was going to take anything, I would just take his points over field goal attempts. Like, you would think if he's taken 10 shots, he's probably scoring 11 points. Honestly, that's my opinion, yeah. Now, last game, he did have 10 field goal attempts, but only 10 points. But, like, what did he shoot last game? He probably shot terribly. Yeah, he shot 4 for 10, 1 for 4 from 3, so that was mainly the reason why. Honestly, I would lean just taking his points if you want to take a prop there on Malik Monk. I'd take that over field goal attempts, I think. DeRozan PRA. Let's look at DeRozan PRA. It's kind of the same thing. Like, there's just uncertainty on how many minutes these guys are going to play. This feels like a game where, the Kings are very likely to lose this game. So they could probably afford to play DeRozan like 30 minutes and still lose. The Kings are trying to lose. Last game, like we said, DeRozan did get 29 minutes. Let's look at his PRA. In that game, he did have, 20... I'm looking at the wrong thing. Where's his PRA at? 29 minutes, he had 19, 2, and 4. So, he had, 25 PRA? Let's look at games without LaVine when he plays between, 25 to 30 minutes. It's probably not a big sample. So, when he plays between 25 to 30 minutes without LaVine, 19, 18, 18, 18, 22, 24, 25 PRA. Line's at 21.5 tonight. Some sites have him at 20.5. Honestly, if you could get him at 20.5, I like that more. Prizepicks has him at 21.5, so I don't like that as much. But he's at 20.5 in some spots. Guess if you were going to take the over, that's maybe where you would do it. But this is just another play, man. I just have no idea how many minutes he plays. He got 29 last game. Tonight he could play 23, and I wouldn't be surprised. So, when there's fragility like that, I tend to stay away. Jalen Duren fantasy. Let's look at that one. I think this is a sneaky good matchup for Jalen Duren. OKC, we think about OKC, they're so good defensively, especially against, not giving up points in the paint. They rebound really well, but things are a lot different when they don't have Chet and when they don't have Isaiah Hartenstein. I wonder, let me look. Let's see. Let's look at the Thunder game log without Chet Holmgren and without Hartenstein this year. I think there's been a couple games that both those guys have missed. And I want to see what the opposing centers did. So it looks like they played the Thunder. Let's see, I'll pull this up on the screen. So it looks like they played the Thunder on February 4th without Chet and without Hartenstein. Let's look at the box score of that game. Wemby had 22 and 14, 22 points, 14 rebounds. Pretty decent game. I mean, it is Wemby, but pretty decent game. Luke Cornett had 15 rebounds. Jesus. So it looks like the Thunder really got killed on the boards in this game. San Antonio had 63 rebounds. The Thunder had 46. Not surprising. Let's look at that other two games. So the other two games were against Memphis. Jaren Jackson had 23, 7, and 1. Jock Landale had a double-double, 13 and 10. Santi Aldama had 15, 7, and 7. Pretty good. Let's look at this game. Triple J, 11 and 3 and 1, not as good. Jock Landale, another double-double, 11 and 10. Santi Aldama, 9 and 7. I mean, you kind of can see that, like, the centers, when centers have faced OKC without Chet and without Hartenstein, they've been pretty solid. And obviously, you know, Jalen Duren's a very productive center, especially, like, he's a guy that really benefits against bad rebounding teams because he's such a good rebounder. And OKC's rebounding is going to be way, way worse without Hartenstein and without Chet. So I think it's actually kind of like a sneaky good spot for Jalen Duren. A lot of these stats, you know, that you see for like facing OKC, you know, first in limiting points within 10 feet, like you can pretty much throw those out the window today because it's just a totally different scenario. So like 36 fantasy, like I don't hate that at all. Where are some of his other props at? PRA's at 30.5. Rebounds at 11. 11 rebounds, I mean, that feels decent. That feels decent. Let's see. This definitely feels like a spot where Duren probably gets a double-double for sure. Maybe a couple steals or some blocks or something. I don't hate it. Like, I don't hate looking at some Duren props here. I want to say the books did, I think they did adjust his lines after Chet and, you know, Hartenstein got ruled out, but they didn't adjust him a ton. But, like, I think the matchup gets significantly better without those guys. So, yeah, some Jalen Duren props. I don't hate tonight. I don't hate. But I think I'm going to wrap up the stream here, guys. It was a short stream today. Not many questions today. You guys were really quiet. I figured, you know, it would be because, for one, it's late. I mean, the games are starting in, like, 5 minutes. But we'll definitely be back tomorrow. I think there's more games tomorrow, I believe. Let's see. Let me look at the schedule. Oh, yeah. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, 10 games tomorrow. So we'll definitely probably go like a full hour tomorrow. It was going to be a short stream today, though. I knew, you know, going live this late, there probably weren't going to be a ton of people in chat. I see your questions, David. Did I not answer your question? But I see your questions. I mean, there weren't a ton of... I don't know if, like, people are typing and, like, I'm seeing some of the questions, but, like, I'm not seeing a ton. Usually there's, like, a ton of questions I have to get through, but yeah, not today. It was kind of a slow day. But that's fine. Going live this late, I figured it would be. But we'll definitely be live again tomorrow. Probably go a full hour tomorrow because there's so many games. The games start at 7 Eastern, so I'll probably be live at 6 Eastern tomorrow. So be on the lookout for a live stream then. Good luck tonight, though, guys. If you tailed the slip we gave out, CMB over 13 PR. Let's see if that line's moved at all. 13.5, so we got half a point of value on that, and then we took Will Richard over 9 points, 9.5. That line's at 10 now, so 2 plays I felt good about for sure. If you tailed that slip, though, let's hope it hits, and we can make some money tonight. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Best of luck as always. Peace out, guys.